In-camera proceeding. Section 327 of the CRPC tells us about in-camera proceeding. In-camera proceeding is a proceeding which is carried out in private in the absence of the public and the press. In-camera proceedings are generally held in the private. When the court proceedings are held in the private chamber of the judge, essentially the proceedings are conducted through video conferencing to safeguard the privacy and protection of the accused. Let's understand what are the personal law to avoid unequal position of women in India. So, Hindu Marriage Act 1955, it introduced monogamy system of marriage, a rule both for men and women. It has put women on equal footing with the man, that told that marriage to be held with the consent. It has enumerated various grounds for divorce. Woman can dissolve her marriage and freely enter into another marriage according to this law. Next is Hindu Succession Act 1956. This act gave property rights to women, mother, wife, and daughter were made first class heirs. Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act. It introduced uniformity in the law of adoption amongst Hindus. Muslims personal law. Muslim marriage is a contract for which consent of the bride and the bridegroom is the basis of the contract. No consent, no valid marriage. Minors marriage can be repudiated. There is option of puberty. Let's understand what are the constitutional provisions for women and children in India. Let's first understand constitutional provision for children. Article 14 of Indian Constitution tells equality before the law or the equal protection of the law within the territory of India. Article 15, no discrimination against any citizen on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, etc. Article 15(3), nothing in this article shall prevent state to make special provisions for women and children. Article 21, protection of life and personal liberty. Article 21A, free and compulsory education for the children aged between 6 to 14 years. Article 24, prohibition of employment in factories below the age of 14 years. Article 39E, children are not abused and forced to work due to economic necessity in unsuited occupation. Article 39F, children are given opportunity and facilities to develop in a healthy manner and condition. Article 45, states shall endeavor to provide early childhood care and education until the age of 6 years. Constitutional provisions for women. Article 14 says equality before the law or the equal protection of the law within the territory of India. Article 15 says no discrimination against any citizen on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, etc. Article 15(3) says nothing in this article shall prevent state to make special provisions for women and children. Article 16(1) says equality of opportunity in matter of public employment to any office under the state. Article 16(3) says nothing in this article shall prevent Parliament from making any law in regard to a class or classes of employment. Article 23, prohibition of trafficking in human beings and forced labor. Article 38, state to ensure a social order for the promotion of the welfare of the people. Article 39D, that there is equal pay for equal work. Article 42, provisions for just and human conditions of work and maternity relief. Article 243T, reservation of the one-third seats to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. What are the functions of family court in 1984? Let's discuss in detail about the establishment, jurisdiction, power and functions of the family court. The Family Court Act 1984 was enacted for the establishment of a family court with an aim to promote conciliation and speedy settlement of disagreements relating to marriage and family affairs and for related matters. Jurisdiction. The family court has a jurisdiction both in the criminal and civil matters. Powers of a family court. It has all the powers of a civil court. Subject to provisions of this act and rules, the provisions of the Criminal Procedure 1973 shall apply. Functions of the family court: to protect the institution of marriage, to handle suits for declaration of validity of marriage or spousal status, to handle suits regarding properties of the spouses, joint or individual, to handle suit for injunction, marital relationship, to handle suit for maintenance, guardianship and custody of minor children, to promote the welfare of the children, provides the settlement of disputes via conciliation. It deals with the problem arising out of the family relationship. Let's discuss the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act 2015. It gives us the provision of shelter home. For children in urgent need of care and protection, the state government shall support creation of requisite number of shelter homes or drop-in centers through voluntary organizations. Shelter homes shall include short stay homes for children needing temporary shelter, care and protection for maximum 1 year, transitional homes providing immediate care and protection to a child for a maximum of 4 months, 24-hour drop-in centers for children needing daycare or night shelter facility. The shelter homes or drop-in centers shall have the minimum facilities of boarding and lodging. Children home. It is a home established or maintained in every district or group of districts by the state government, either by itself or through a voluntary or non-governmental organization for following purposes: placement of children in need of care and protection, education, development, rehabilitation. The state government shall designate any home as children's home having delivery of special needs and specialized services based on the requirement. All institutions shall within a period of 6 months from the date of commencement of Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Children Amendment Act 2006 be registered under this act. Let's describe or let's explain the Juvenile Justice Board. The Juvenile Justice Board is established by the state government for a district or a group of districts for exercising the powers and discharging the duties imposed on such boards by the state government in relation to juveniles in conflict with the law. Power of Juvenile Justice Board, Section 6. It has the power to deal exclusively with all proceedings relating to juvenile in conflict with the law. The powers conferred on the board by or under this act may also be exercised by the High Court and the Court of Session when the proceeding comes before them in appeal, division or otherwise. What are the objects of Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act 2000? To consolidate and amend the law relating to juveniles in conflict with law and children in need of care and protection, by providing for proper care, protection and treatment, by catering to their development needs, and by adopting a child-friendly approach in the adjudication and disposition of matters before it. Principles adopted by Juvenile Justice Board. Principle of presumption of innocence, principle of dignity and worth, principle of safety, principle of equality and non-discrimination, principle of repatriation and restoration. Let's understand the Indian Contract Act 1872. Let's discuss in details minor agreement with case law. A contract with a minor is void, and hence no obligations can ever arise on him thereunder. The minor party cannot ratify the contract upon attaining majority unless a law specifically allows this. No court can allow specific performance of a contract with minors because it is void altogether. The Partnership Act also prohibits minors from becoming partners in a firm, however receive the benefits from the partnership firm. Rule of estoppel do not apply to minors agreement. Parents or guardians of minors can name them in contracts only if it benefits them, but even in this case the minor cannot be personally liable. Let's understand the Indian Penal Code 1860 IPC. What is stalking and what can be done about stalkers? Stalking under section 354D of Indian Penal Code states that any man who follows a woman and contracts such woman to foster personal interaction repeatedly despite a clear indication or disinterest by such woman, or any man who monitors the use by a woman of the internet, email or any other form of electronic communication commits the offense of stalking, provided that such conduct shall not amount to stalking if the man who perused it proves that he had been entrusted with the responsibility of prevention and detection of crime by the state. In the particular circumstances, such conduct was reasonable and justified. Punishment for stalking. First conviction. Whoever commits the offense of stalking shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years and shall also be liable to fine. Second or subsequent conviction. Be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years and shall also be liable to fine. Let's understand adultery. What is the punishment for adultery? Adultery under section 497. Whoever has sexual intercourse with a person who is and whom he knows or has reason to believe to be the wife of another man, without the consent or connivance of that man, such sexual intercourse not amounting to the offense of rape is guilty of the offense of adultery. Punishment for adultery. The accused shall be punished with the imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years or with fine or with both. In such case, the wife shall not be punishable as an abettor. Comment on this statement. Adultery is not a crime. In September 2018, the Apex Court had declared Section 497 of the Indian Penal Code that makes adultery a punishable offense for men unconstitutional, and struck it down. Adultery can be ground for civil issues, including dissolution of marriage, but it cannot be a criminal offense, the apex court had said. Let's differentiate between adultery and rape. Adultery is defined in the section 497 of the IPC. Rape is defined in the section 376B to 376D of IPC. Adultery is a sexual intercourse by a person with a woman whom he knows that she is not his wife. Rape is sexual intercourse with a woman without her consent and free will. Adultery is an offense against the husband. Rape is an offense against the woman, whether married or not. In adultery, the consent of woman is immaterial. Rape can be committed even without consent. Adultery is less serious offense. Imprisonment extend up to 5 years or fine or both. Rape is more serious offense. Punishment may extend up to 10 years of jail. Adultery cannot be done with his wife. Rape can be committed by a man with his own wife if below 15 years. Adultery is an offense against marriage. Rape is an offense against sex. The Guardian and Ward Act 1890. What are the matters considered by the court in the appointment of a guardian? Guardian means a person who is having the care of a minor or of his property or both. Points to be considered for appointment of guardian: age, sex, religion, and wishes of the minor. Wishes of the deceased parent of the minor, personal law of the minor, kinship with the minor, capacity of the proposed guardian, character of the proposed guardian. The welfare of a minor is an important factor in appointing the guardian by the court. The Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, IPC Section 304B. Dowry, it means any property or valuable security given or agreed to be given either directly or indirectly by one party to a marriage to the other party to the marriage, by the parents of either party to a marriage to or any other person at or before or any time after the marriage in connection with the marriage, but does not include dower or mahar, for which the Muslim personal law applies. What is the punishment prescribed for dowry death? Where the death of a woman is caused by any burns or bodily injury or occurs otherwise than under normal circumstances within 7 years of her marriage, and it is shown before her death she was subjected to a cruelty or harassment by her husband or any relative of her husband, or for in connection with any demand for dowry, such death shall be called dowry death, and such husband or relative shall be deemed to have caused her death. Whoever commits dowry death shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 7 years, but which may extend to imprisonment for life. The Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prohibition, Prevention and Redressal Act 2013. Explain sexual harassment of women at workplace. Sexual harassment includes any one or more of the following unwelcome acts or behavior, whether directly or by implication, namely physical contact and advances, or a demand or request for sexual favors, or making sexually colored remarks, or showing pornography, or any other unwelcome physical, verbal, or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. Circumstances which can be related or connected to sexual harassment. Implied or explicit promise of preferential treatment in her employment. Implied or explicit threat of detrimental treatment in her employment. Implied or explicit threat about her present or future employment status. Interference with her work or creating an intimidating or hostile work environment for her. Humiliating treatment affecting health or safety. Committee to attend grievances: internal complaint committee, local complaint committee. Procedure for complaint redressal: complaint of sexual harassment, summoning of the accused mentioned in the complaint, inquiry into the complaint, inquiry report to be submitted in 10 days, relief extended to complaint pending inquiry, conciliation with accused for settlement. If matter sorted out, settlement of complaint, penalty to the respondent, fines from salary. Unsorted matter, report to employer or district officer. If complaint is false, complainant to be reprimanded. The case law, this is Visakha vs. State of Rajasthan, a landmark case of sexual harassment.